Bitcoin emergency update. Get ready for a six-figure Bitcoin. We are more than likely going to hit all-time new highs over the coming months. Today, we're going to cover the technical position. Really important to understand. We're going to cover the pattern position. We're using Elliott wave theory. We're going to cover the price position, which is an independent technical factor, the time position, and the momentum position to stack the odds in our favor to get a confluence of events. So let's start with the pattern position. The key thing you want to know is that markets typically move in fives and threes. And this is what Elliott waves look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is really important. On the left hand side, we're going to focus on the theory and then we're going to apply the practical to live Bitcoin price action. So what we can see right now, as I've drawn it on the left, is that Bitcoin earlier or late last year going into this year made a nice wave 1, what looks like to be a wave 2, a nice wave 3. So the technical position is that we're in a position to complete a wave 4, which should then go on to make a wave 5. This is really important because it's accurate. It's the way you want to think about it. It's measuring crowd psychology and it's really reliable. Now, when we're doing technical analysis using Elliott wave theory, in the ideal world, we want to have a minimum of 2 degrees of wave count. What I mean by this is that wave 1s typically break down to a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We call this a lower degree wave count. And on the live chart with Bitcoin, we can see this happen in a textbook fashion. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then wave 2s typically break down to a 3-wave corrective structure called an A, B, C zigzag. And this is what it looked like. And it broke down in a really nice form. A, first leg down, B, and a C. Then wave 3s on a lower degree wave count typically break down to a 5-wave structure as well, but just tend to be more impulsive than the wave 1. So this is the theory on the left-hand side. But as we can see with Bitcoin, it abided by these rules and guidelines really well. We've got this initial wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, what's called an irregular wave 4, and a nice impulsive wave 3 or wave 5 of wave 3, which is overextended. So now we can see that Bitcoin is abiding by Elliott wave theory and we can really predict with accuracy the buying and selling psychology. When it comes to wave 4 is similar to wave 2. Typically, most common, breaks down to a 3-wave structure of an ABC. Sometimes they can have more complex corrections. This was a bit more of a complex correction, but as we just keep things very simple, we've got this initial leg down, we've got this up and then down. So we've got a nice ABC structure. So what we're saying now is that Bitcoin is in a position, a pattern position, to complete a wave C of a wave 4. If this is the case, then what we should anticipate is we want to project or figure out what would confirm that the low is in and then the price to go to make all-time new highs, so we can really start to figure out when we should start to buy Bitcoin or use it as a macro indicator for other altcoins and cryptocurrencies. Best practice using Elliott wave is to put a question mark when the wave count is not yet confirmed. So this wave 4 is not yet confirmed, so we've got a question mark over here. So now I'm very happy with the pattern position. We're very confident. We're in a pattern position of a wave C of a wave 4 and anticipating the beginning of a wave 5. But that's not good enough. We want to have a confluence of events, other independent technical factors that are suggesting the same thing. And that's where we're going to look at the price position. When we're looking at the price position, we're going to focus on the theory on the left-hand side first. What we're going to do is we're going to measure how big was this wave 3. And most wave 4s typically retrace back down to what's called the 38.2% retracement to the 62%. So we're going to have 3 lines, the middle one being the 50%. And then we're going to draw it on the right-hand side for the live Bitcoin price action. So we have a tool in TradingView called FIB retracements. What we want to do is click on the start of wave 3, end of wave 3, and more often than not, this is just the theory on the left-hand side, so we can just adjust it over here, just so we can look at the theory like so. Most wave 4s typically as a minimum pull back to the 38.2% retracement. And if that's the case, that just says that we're in a price position to complete a wave 4. What we also want to know, and we're going to do this on the live chart on the right hand side, is that wave A's and wave C's are like twins. They tend to equal each other more often than not. So we can do an advanced projection called the extension. So in TradingView, it's called trend-based FIB extension. We're going to literally measure how big was the wave A projected from the wave B high. And then we've got this red line over here. That's the 100%. 100% of wave A and wave C. So now we have a very high probability price zone for a wave 4. And what we'll say in theory is that we're in a pattern position and a price position to complete a wave 4 for the trend to continue up. So now let's do that live on the right hand side for wave 4. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with that retracement. We're going to take the beginning of wave 3 to the end of wave 3. And as we can see, as of this week, we've just hit the 38.2% retracement. So now we're in a pattern position and a price position to complete a wave 4. But let's now do that 100% to get this red line. So what we're going to do, we're going to measure this wave A, how big was the move, and project it from this high, and then project the 100% and to see if it clusters. And visually, we can see that it's going to, but it's good to have it on the chart. So we've got absolute clarity. So we're going to measure wave A, how big was the wave A, projected from this wave B high. And as we can see now, we have this price zone. So now technically what we can say is that Bitcoin is in a pattern and price position with high probability to complete a wave 4. And if it does, then we should anticipate all-time new highs. Now, this is where we want to look at the pattern reversal signal. What would be a clear signal that Bitcoin has completed this low? Well, a first obvious one would be Bitcoin taking out this swing high. There's a minor swing high over here. If Bitcoin's price exceeded this high over here with some confidence, we can be pretty confident that this low is in and that we should go on to make nice all-time new highs lasting for 6 to 12 months. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the time and the momentum position of Bitcoin. But remember, you can use this for all markets and all time frames, including all cryptocurrency. Before I do, I just want to introduce you to my Bitcoin weekly trade plan. I'm giving a free 30-day trial where every single week I do a detailed technical analysis of video of Bitcoin as a trade plan, what is very likely to do. As a bonus, I include Ethereum, Litecoin, and Solana. It's absolutely free for 30 days. Check it out. My clients are getting fantastic value from this because it just keeps us very sharp on what's very likely to occur to trade and buy and sell Bitcoin, but also as a macro indicator for the rest of the crypto markets. So that's in the description link below. So now going into the time position with Bitcoin, what we're going to do in terms of the wave 4 is what you want to be aware of is the length of time it takes to complete a wave 3. Literally, how long did this take? Like, how many days did it take? And then we're going to project forward two ratios, 38.2 to 62%. That's the typical time it takes for a typical wave 4. We are talking about mass crowd psychology and buying and selling behavior. And then we're going to apply the same thing on the right-hand side to get a time and price zone. I'm going to draw a pink box, and it's very accurate. It's around 70 to 90% of the time this kind of behavior occurs. So on TradingView, there's a tool called Trend-Based FIB Time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click the beginning of wave 3, the end of wave 3, and we're going to double click. And we can see we've got these two lines. The green line is the 38.2%, and the red line is the 62%. And now what we have is a price and a time zone. And frequently what you'll see me do is just draw a box that just says, right, this is the typical buying and selling behavior, but because it is 100%, the red line, we're going to draw it like so. And there we have it. Now this is high probability. So this was really, really important for us determining the wave 4 for Bitcoin. I'm just going to hide it on the right-hand side for what we've just done there. And then I'm going to draw it on the right-hand side separately. So we're going to do the beginning of wave 3 to the end of wave 3. And what we can see is we've got this very high probability price and time zone. But because we've got this red 100%, it tells us that this zone here, we can be very precise, is the high probability end of wave 4 price and time zone. So what we're saying from a technical perspective is Bitcoin is in a pattern A, B, C of a wave 4 position. We've hit the minimum 38.2%, but we're also at this very strong 100% wave A projection from wave B. And we're now at the extreme end of a typical end of a correction at the 62% time retracement. So in other words, we've got three strong indications: pattern, price, and time, indicating that Bitcoin is in a position to complete a wave 4. Now, again, I'm deliberately saying it's highly probable, it's likely we're in a position because it has not been confirmed yet. We want to see a swing high get exceeded, and only then will we be really confident that the wave 4 is complete. And we won't really know until these highs over here are exceeded, but we can make some buying decisions down here with very high probability. I want to cover one other time factor, which is very, very powerful, that you should be using all of the time, especially when we've got a clean ABC structure. It's basically the length of time it takes for a wave A to form, how many days, and we're looking at a daily chart, by the way, and we can project forward that same amount of time, and it's pretty typical that a wave C would take around the same amount of time as a wave A. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the same tool. We're going to measure wave A projected from wave B, but this time the key ratio that we want is the 100%, and is denoted by the number 1. And we've got a nice thick red line. Now we're going to do the same for Bitcoin on the right-hand side. We're going to measure how long did this wave A take. We're going to project it from this wave B high. I only want this to show on the daily chart. I've got an hourly chart on the left-hand side for the theory. But what we can see is that this thick red line is right close to the 62% retracement, time retracement, which gives it even more significance. So that's really, really important for us to understand that Bitcoin is in a strong time position, is in a strong price position, and it's in a strong pattern position to complete a wave 4. Last but not least, we are going to finish up on momentum. I like to use something called double time frame momentum. What does that mean? Well, you've heard the saying, or you may have heard the saying, the trend is your friend, ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. So if the higher time frame and the current time frame are in the same direction, that's a very strong indication that it's going to continue in that direction. And what I like to use is the weekly chart and the daily chart. The weekly being the higher time frame trend, and the daily being the current lower time frame trend. And when they both coincide in terms of the momentum direction, then we can be pretty confident, or more confident, that the trend is going to continue that way. So I'm going to bring up what I use. It's called the momentum indicators. I've created a dashboard. This is just makes my life a lot easier. On the left-hand side, we got the bigger trend, which is the weekly chart. And you can see it reads here, strong oversold. In other words, it just tells us that the downside is limited and we should expect a reversal for the trend to continue upwards. And then the immediate trend, the smaller trend on the daily chart, is also oversold, denoted by, I use something called the stochastics RSI. And now we are in a position of what to do is consider buying long trade setups based on the momentum. So now what we can finalize with this technical analysis is that Bitcoin is in a position, pattern position to complete a wave 4, check. Price position to complete a wave 4, check. Time position to complete a wave 4, check. And last but not least, a momentum position. And now it's all about entry strategies and how to make money from this information. But what I want to emphasize is that you can also use Bitcoin as a filter, because it's really highly correlated with the rest of the crypto market. So in other words, if Bitcoin does this, we know lower caps, whether it's the high cap, low caps, or the altcoins in terms of Ethereum, Litecoin, Solana, the top 10, top 20, top 100 coins, or if it's top 500 coins. If Bitcoin does this, we know there's going to be massive FOMO coming into the market, fear of missing out, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, panic buying, which is going to drive the prices up. So you can really leverage this information to dictate your buying and selling behavior. So do check out the free trial weekly plan. I literally do it every single week. It's a succinct video, but we cover the 4 independent technical factors: pattern, price, time, and momentum. And you get a strong indication of what's likely to happen with the market. It's in the description link below. Until then, I'll see you next time.